Hello everybody, I am Rajendra Kulkarni and you are watching my channel Programming in C with RSK. Friends, I am delighted today as I am uploading my 51st video on the YouTube channel dealing in C programming. In this video, we will see how to access data available in Excel files in our C program. So this is the Excel file which I will be using in the program to explain how to extract data from this file into our C programs. You can see in this file the first field contains numbers 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. Friends, these are just the identifiers for a row. These numbers do not form the actual data on which we will be working. Well, for achieving the data transfer from Excel file to our C program, we must know that C program can directly not able to access formatted Excel file. That is why the data from that Excel file can be brought in into our C program by converting that Excel file to a CSV file. A CSV file is a text file, and to convert an Excel file into the CSV file, we first open the Excel file, then save it as a CSV file in the bin. I have done it in the bin. You can save it anywhere on your laptop or PC, but the only thing to be noted is the full path of that file must be available and used while accessing the file in the C program. Another thing to be noted is only the active sheet of the workbook gets saved, not as the whole workbook. So whichever is the sheet open at the particular moment when we save it as a CSV file, only that sheet gets saved. When an Excel file is converted to a CSV file, all the format of the Excel file is lost. Full formatting, not format, the formatting of the data in the Excel file is lost. And the file now is a pure text file with an extension .csv. The reason for this is a C program cannot access any Excel file or a Word file, MS Excel, MS Word or any other file. It can access only a text file or a binary file created through the program only, through the C program. But there are lots of data available on the net or on our laptops or computers in the form of Excel files. If we want to use that data in our C programs, then those Excel files can be used by converting those into CSV files. Now this is the CSV file. Why it is called CSV? Because it is a comma separated variables or comma separated values file. You can see here all the data that was appearing in the Excel sheet is now available on the CSV file. Each value has been separated by a comma. This is important. It can be a comma, or we can, if we have a Word file, that also we can convert into a text file which can be accessed by C program with some kind of separators used. It can be a comma, it can be a blank, but here in this case, in case of Excel files, we will be using CSV file. Now how to access this data? from CSV file. This program explains us how to do it. There are a few variables declared here. You can see find named variable has been assigned with a value 44 and all others are assigned with 0. Then we have a string and a int name int data subscript 10 as the array. It is an int array. What we will be doing is we will find out the row containing the data starting from 44 as the identifier. That data, that row will contain a text or a string when we read it from the file. That string will be assigned by the read function to the string str, and that str string now contains the data of interest for us, and the only thing that is remaining to be done is that string will be converted into a formatted value. In this case it will be int values or int constants, and those constants will be saved or assigned to the array data. Then there is a declaration of a file pointer star fp, where file file is a structure defined in stdio.h, and that structure contains lot of information about the file to be opened, and it also contains an important pointer. When we open a file, the data in that file or the characters in that file or the content of the file is transferred to a buffer, which is a block of memory on our laptop or on our PC, and the functions which open the file and start using, and the functions which read, write or do any operation on the file, those functions return a pointer to the buffer pointing to the first character in that buffer, so that the data transfer takes place when we read the file. The data or the contents of the file are transferred from hard disk to memory in a buffer. That buffer contains all the contents of the file. There can be more buffers required, but that we will not see in this video. So that buffer becomes the place where our file contents are available, and to that buffer we are going to use, or not we, but actually the functions reading the file or writing into the file will be using that buffer. So fp is a pointer to which the address of the opening or the first location where data or where the file has been transferred is assigned with. From here on, the file, we will be dealing with the file through this pointer fp only. We intend to search the row for a value of 44. That is, this 44, I have taken some arbitrary number which is available in the file. You can put anything there. Then we open the file mydata.csv. with the function fopen. It has two parameters. The first one is a string with the name and path of the file, and the second is a mode of opening the file. In this case it is simply R, but it's not accepted as a character, it is accepted only as a string by the function fopen. If the file is not opened properly, fp contains null as its value, or the pointer fp is assigned with null, and if that happens, it indicates file is not opened properly and cannot be accessed by the program, and we exit the program. This is only to safeguard our program and the data. Then we go for another function dealing with file reading, fgets here. This fgets is a function which reads file line by line and stores the line into the string str which we have declared earlier. This 79 stands for the number of characters we are expecting in that string, or the number of characters that a line in the file may be having. This loop goes on until it reaches null. This null in this case is an indicator of end of file, which is inserted by the program or by the program in association with operating system. This fgets str79fp function is also declared in stdio.h. Fgets reads the file line by line and assign the read line as a string to the str. First of all, while using this while loop, what we intend to do is find out which row contains the identifier required by us, which is 44 in this case. Then we use a function sscanf into the brackets str comma %d as a string comma and found. What this scanf function does is it converts the text in str or text in a string to a formatted constant and assign that constant to the variable. This %d here in this case we are using %d because 44 we have treated as a int constant. If instead of 44 there is some constant which is of float type or a string type, then we will use %a, %s, etc. So sscanf function picks up the first value of the string, first value in the string. What do we mean by first value? The text that is appearing from start of the string exactly up to a comma in the string. So sscanf function picks up the string or substring of str, which is a string from beginning of the str, from the 0th element of the str to up to the element which is prior to comma. So in our case it will pick up first value of the string, which can be 11, 22, 33, 44, 45, 55 as we go ahead while reading the lines one by one. Now what we have done is the text or the number 44 which was available in str in the form of string or characters or text, we convert in this scanf function, we convert it to equivalent int constant, assign it to a variable found, then we compare found with our search criteria which is containing in a number 44 as an int value into int find variable. When the program reads and when this if becomes true, the loop is broken by this break statement. So when we come out of loop, this while loop, we close the file, and now what str contains is the entire row in the text form which starts with 44. Scanf converts the characters of the first comma in str to int value, the second argument in the scanf function, and assigns it to variable int found which appears as the third argument of the scanf function. So what scanf does, scanf picks up characters from str, convert those characters into the desired or the mentioned format, and assign that converted value to the third variable which appears as a third parameter of the function. Now what str contains is the whole line which is containing a text form. By employing this while str not equal to /0, what we are trying to do is we are running the loop str with I as its subscript, which will change continuously by our program in the while loop, and the loop will come out or the loop will terminate when the str found /0 in the string. /0 is a string terminator. This next, if str is equal to comma, it tells us when the str reached the comma, and then for every comma present in str we increment a int variable no underscore fields, because we want to know how many fields are there in the file in the row. Then we go into another while loop, while m less than 79. This 79 corresponds to the number of probable characters that we might have in the string str. What we now do is we again employ a scanf function. We scan the string str through while loop by incrementing the value of this int m. So when scanf function encounters first comma, the text up to that comma will be converted into %d or int constant, and that int constant will be assigned to the 0th element of array data, because I is 0. As the data array for 0th element gets assigned with value, we make it ready for accepting next value as a next element. While strm not equal to comma m plus plus, what we are doing here is we are advancing and presenting a scanf function with a array which now points to second comma or the first character after the second comma. First comma we have up to first comma we have converted. Now by advancing m, the strm starts pointing towards the first character after the comma, and then a scanf function will pick up that text and convert it into a int value which will assign to the next element of array data. Now this continues till we reach the value of m less than 79. By this what we are doing is we are converting the text available in string str, which is a text comma separated, and each comma tells us that the field, each comma tells to the program that the field has changed. From the 0th field we have gone to first field, then second field, and so on. By forcing the str m and presenting it to a scanf function after the first character of the text after the comma is made available. Now this for loop, it just prints out or sends to the console the contents of data array. Now we can see here that array contained string containing 44 as the first text before comma, then 4, then comma, then 4, and in this way the whole line which was cut by or which was transferred or assigned to str has been converted into respective format. In this case it is int. Then the second loop carries out summing of all the elements of the array data. Please note 44 is not the data of interest to us, it is just an identifier for the row. So we are not adding that, we are adding only the data of interest, which is 444 etc. in this case, and that sum is 28. This is the screenshot of the output screen when I ran this program. So the data which was first available in the Excel file as a formatted data, it was converted to a text data by converting the file to .csv file, and again that data which was available as in the text form we have converted to formatted data so that it can be used in our program. So what we have done here is we are using a mathematical expression of sum is equal to sum plus data I to ensure that all the data has been correctly converted to formatted data. All the text in the file is converted into the data, equivalent data in the form of int constants. So this is how the program works. To summarize, it is a simple explanation what we did sequentially. Save the Excel sheet as a CSV file. Open the CSV file in a read mode. Read the CSV file, which is a text file now, using fgets function, which reads text from the file line by line and assigns the read line to a string, all the text in the line to a string. Search the line for the desired data using the first field as a search criteria and convert that into the text available in the first before first comma to the required format. In this case it will be int, and assign it to a variable, and then search that whole file for the required row in which we are interested. Again we use the scanf function and convert the data separated text available in the found string into the int constants, and store those constants in the int array. So by end of the program, what we have is an array which contains all the data which was present in the original Excel file in the formatted form. Thanks for watching, friends. Friends, I am again expressing my happiness that I have been able to upload 51st video on this YouTube channel. Request you to go to visit my channel, subscribe to it, and also inform your friends interested in C programming to subscribe to my channel. The next video will be on write and read text as well as binary files. Thanks once again.